Hello everyone, this is Marlene and Sappho, and this is my oven. It's also called a Wilspieß, and that's Sappho. Hey Sappho, she's a little bit angry because I just shut the door for her. The cows are being put out in the forest on the other side of the road, and she goes nuts when she's outside. So I just had to take her in, and I'm in, and I was going to fix my oven up for the winter, for the new burning season. And I thought, well, I could take you along because um, maybe you don't know how it works. One of these. Now I have this one, and of course you can cook on this one, and I'll show you how that works. But it also is a very good heat source. And then I have this one, which is what you probably are familiar with, all of you, just um, to build a fire in the evening and sit and watch the fire, very cozy. I can cook on top of it as well. I have these stones, brick stones here, because they catch the heat from the top of the oven and spreads it out, and it holds the heat a bit longer. But I can just push them aside, and I can put a pan or a frying pan or a pot or whatever on top here, and I can make the most gorgeous omelets. I can have a one pot stew or something sitting there and just muscling along in the evening. So that's my primary heat source, because that is meant for giving out heat. Convection oven, and it's very nice. I like it. This one is meant for cooking on, and the hole in here was the old oven that came with actually the open fireplace here. I'm not sure that they had this as an open fireplace. I am sure that they did in here when they lived here in the 1880s. This whole room in behind here, and this mantle piece here, that was the chimney. That was the chimney as it was, and there was no oven here. They just made a fire in this space here and had the smoke go up directly through the bricked chimney, which is here and going all the way here. It's the same chimney. It's the same brick chimney. Of course, for safety reasons, you don't use that anymore. You have to, when you put in a heat source, you have to put a pipe on it, and a flex pipe I have put on all the way. And I'll just see if I can show you that I have a metal plate up here, so this not open up through the chimney. It's closed off, and there's insulation put around this pipe and down into the cavity of the chimney. Such small lava stones, I don't remember the word, but lots of hundreds of liters of that is poured down there. And of course I had to make sure that this was completely closed off, so I don't get these little lava fluffies down into my food on the stove. This was the old bread oven. There's a hatch here, or door here, made of metal, and then this is a closed off cavity. There's no opening up to the chimney. So they used to make a bonfire in here, lots of firewood, light it up, close the door, have that sit and burn for hours, and the smoke from that just seeped out here from the door and went up through the chimney. It cannot any longer because I've closed it off with a metal sheet. So this one is not to be used as an oven ever again. But I store my pots and pans in there, so just for now. But I do use this one. It has an oven. Boom. And I have a little fireproof stone in there, because the bottom here gets really hot and it burns my food if I just put the pots or pans directly on the bottom there. So I put them on top of this one, and I have a thermometer. It's a new buy. It doesn't really function because it gets a lot hotter in the bottom of the oven, which is far in there, than it does at the front. And I'm going to explain to you why that is. This hatch is the one you open to put firewood in. You can't really see in the bottom of it, but it is very, very long, and I have long pieces of firewood for this one. And you can see it goes all the way in. So it's about 35 centimeters, a foot and a little more. And under where you put in the firewood, you have the ash tray, of course. This is there's a little grill in here where you put the firewood on and light the fire, and then you can use this one to help all the residue and the coals to fall down into this one, and you can empty that out to have a clear ashtray. You also have a little hatch under here, and that's quite important because this whole room under the oven has to be cleared out for ashes every time I light a fire in it. And for that purpose, I have this long scraper. Put it in here, goes all the way into the back, and you scrape out what you may have of ashes and debris in there. Very good idea is to always have this one out to put under. Now, of course, I have the telephone in one hand, so I cannot use my other hand for this, but look at this. There is lots of ashes and black stuff, soot and ashes in here. You have to scrape that out every time, or every other time, 3 times maybe, that you make a fire. But make sure that it's clean, because if it's not, it clogs up and there's not enough draft in it to get the smoke out and to start that motor of driving up the hot air, putting down the cold air, and driving the machinery that makes it burn without sending smoke out into the whole house, which I have done a couple of times. Because until you get to know the whole system and know what she prefers and how she burns, you can accidentally just light a little fire, and if there is no draft in it immediately, the smoke just comes out here and it fills up my little house in a second, and really fills it up with smoke. And I've made that mistake a couple of times. Now I have learned that when I light a fire in here, I put a piece of burning bark into that hole in there, because this is the nearest to the exhaust pipe or to the chimney, because it goes under there. And why do I want it that near? I do because in a chimney like this, you can make a cold clock. It sounds so stupid, but this clogs up with cold air. And that little cork or what little stop that is in there, you want to just pop that away. And you do that by giving it some heat to get it out of there. It's really a weird system, but that's how it works. So I do that by making fire in here and not in here, because the fire that I make in here has to travel very, very far. And I'm going to show you that. It travels over the roof of the oven. This is the roof of the oven. The fire is lit here. It goes up, and then it goes all the way across here over that oven and down on the side here, down beside the oven, goes all the way down here, and then it goes under the oven here and back and up the chimney, so that everything is heated up here. Those, of course, are rings that you can reduce the fire, and not reduce the fire, but reduce the heat that comes up to your pots. You just put them on. I normally have them just on because the pots get so dirty underneath if they're just over the open fire. So I just use them like they are. This one is by far the hottest, and that is because this one is extremely heavy and constructed with iron pegs here. All these makes the surface 10 times bigger than it really is, because this is all surface, iron surface, and that all heats up and sends the heat upwards naturally, which is that direction. You can see down to the firing chamber there. And this one gets extremely hot in a hurry because the fire runs right under it. So this is hottest, this is next hottest, and this is coolest. And I just move the pots around instead of taking off the rings. The only time I have this ring off is when I am baking waffles, because I put the waffle iron onto this open piece. The fire, when the draft is good, the fire just licks the roof of the oven there, and it doesn't come out this way. I was afraid of that in the beginning, but it doesn't. It just runs over the roof there, and but you can see it. You can see the flames when you turn the waffle iron. It's amazing. It's very wonderful. Now, you can see it looks a bit rusty, and what I want to do before the winter comes is to give it a polish. So I have this oven or stove polish, as it's called. I'm going to apply that. You apply it on the cold oven, and then it has to sit. You polish it after you apply it, and then it has to sit for 24 hours before you heat it up again. And I could have done that today if I hadn't been an idiot and made bread dough. I had a sourdough that I thought, oh, I need to use it now. So I have a bread dough proving, and I need to bake that today. And I need to use this oven because that's the only oven I have. So, and you get a little bit dirty. You should remember to wear those, but they were very far away from me. So that's the function of it. Fire there, ashes there, air in there, and then of course you have this damper. I don't know if you can see it, but it's way up here. There's a damper, and it's very simple. It's just a little handle, and there's a plate inside. And when I turn the handle, the plate can go this way, or flat. So there's not so much air, and this is a lot of air. And of course, it's open, wide open when you start the fire, because you want a lot of airflow. And then you can just dampen it. That's why it's called a damper, I guess. And so that your wood doesn't burn that fast. And you have this has a small grill in it, and that's open too when you start, and you can just shut it and have a very steady fire that you can cook very nicely on, and it can give you a lot of warmth. Not a lot, but some warmth in the kitchen as well. So that was my project, but not today. I can't really get any further today. I have to heat it up and see if I can make the draft, or if I'm going to have smoke in my whole house. I hope not. I will be very careful. So next time you see it, it will be completely black and shiny and beautiful, I hope. So I'll see you on the next one. Stay warm out there. Bye-bye.